Family Feud Turns Explosive. I demolished our life. The phone call is burned into my memory. The scream echoing across a freshly demolished life. But before that, before the dust settled and the champagne flowed, there was simmering resentment, a slow burn that threatened to consume me. My in-laws moved into my house and used my savings to go on lavish trips, extravagant displays of selfishness that chipped away at my sanity. Then came the final straw, the arrogant command. "Oh Lisa, let's clean the house really well this time. Okay, we're going away for 6 days. You've got plenty of time, so make sure you do a thorough job. It's good practice for you." The saccharine sweetness dripped with condescension. It wasn't a request, it was an order. "Go for it, Lisa. I'll make sure to clean everything really well." Little did they know the kind of cleaning I had in mind. Several days later, the phone rang, shattering the peace of my luxurious hotel room. "Hey, why can't we get into the house?" My husband's voice was laced with panic, a stark contrast to the carefree tone he'd adopted as he boarded the plane to paradise, paid for by my sweat and tears. I thought that might happen. I replied, my voice a chilling calm amidst the storm of their entitlement. "What do you mean? What's going on? Lisa, what did you do? Where are you now? What happened while we were on vacation?" Their cries echoed in my ears. Finally, I had the upper hand. This is my story. My name is Lisa, and I'm 30 years old. I work part-time and take care of the house. Or rather, I used to. I've been married to Henry for almost a year, 4 years my senior, and for a brief, blissful moment, we were in the honeymoon phase. I used to dream of a cozy life, a haven built for two. But dreams, as I soon learned, can be brutally shattered. We bought a house, a symbol of our shared future, and for a while, everything was perfect. Then, the darkness began to creep in, slowly at first, like a rising tide. "Honey, what are we having for dinner tonight?" Henry would ask, his tone bordering on demanding. "Lisa, what did we have for dinner last night?" "Curry." It was always curry. Something light, always. But the real problem, the monstrous obstacle that poisoned our marriage, was Henry's parents. They simply moved in without so much as a conversation, a blatant disregard for our carefully laid plans. When we bought the house, the dream was always to live there alone. Initially, they just visited on weekends, their presence a minor irritant. But soon, the visits became longer, more frequent, until they morphed into a permanent occupation. They brought their own furniture, transforming our carefully curated space into a shrine to their outdated tastes. It would have been nice if my husband had said something, anything. He's always asking, "Mom, are you okay in this heat? Dad, are you alright?" A perpetual echo of concern that never extended to me. After we got married, I realized he had no spine, no ability to stand up to them. I tried to broach the subject, to reason with him in the quiet moments we could steal away. "I didn't agree with your parents moving in. Our house isn't big enough. What are we going to do? You need to talk to them and get them to leave." But all I was met with was denial, a wall of infuriating complacency. "What are you saying? If we have a kid, we can just move. I think Mom and Dad would love living with their grandchild. I'd be happy to have everyone together." My husband not only didn't see any issues with his parents living with us, but he actively welcomed it. I've given up on him explaining things to them, and in that moment, I realized the depth of my mistake. I blamed myself, thinking, why didn't I realize this before we got married? My husband lived with his parents until we got married. I only visited their house once, when we went to introduce ourselves before the wedding. So, I had no idea what his lifestyle was like. I didn't know he was so attached to his mom and dad. Living with his parents all of a sudden is stressful enough, and there's even more on top of that. Then came the demands, the constant stream of complaints. "Hey, Lisa, there's nothing I can eat for dinner today. Can you make something else?" The pronouncements were made with an air of entitlement, a demand for immediate gratification. "Well, isn't fish, boiled veggies? I'm not in the mood for fish. I want meat today." My mother-in-law acts that she's entitled, always finding something to complain about this or that. "We don't have any meat right now." "Oh, really? Let's just order takeout then." And with that, my mother-in-law started ordering expensive appetizers, delicacies we could never afford. Certainly not on a weekday. It's fine if she wants to spend her own money, but how, I soon discovered, was a far more painful question. "I'll have one of those expensive appetizers." "Yes, charge it to the usual card." My mother-in-law had used my card without asking. I was shocked and asked her why she did it. "Because everyone will eat what I order, right? It's everyone's meal." Sure enough, if my mother-in-law orders a lot of food, everyone ends up eating it, including me. But why should I automatically bear the cost? I don't understand my mother-in-law's logic at all. Supporting a family of 4, you have to cook both meat and fish. Everyone has different tastes, right? This is why modern women. No, you're the biggest problem here, as my father-in-law liked to say. My father-in-law doesn't criticize my mother-in-law for her whims. Instead, he seems to agree with her and blames me imposing his old-fashioned views on me. They're quite similar in their thinking. It seems like modern people can't handle even the simplest tasks these days. It's a real issue. Thank goodness for delivery. Yes, there are so many options for delivery now. I prefer delivery every day when it releases cooking, sheets near. My in-laws enjoy mocking me even though I'm the one paying for their food, living expenses, and even the mortgage for this house. Why should I be treated this way? Anger started to build up inside me, accumulating like a pressure cooker about to explode. Having my in-laws in the house made me feel like being at work was better, a shocking realization that highlighted the toxicity of my home life. Luckily, work was going well, and there was talk of a promotion. I was offered a project leader role. I thought that staying busy would reduce my stress from home, and if my in-laws order delivery, I've learned to accept it. My priority now is to distance myself from my in-laws. As a result, my overtime and weekend hours increased, but I felt fulfilled and energetic, a stark contrast to the drained, defeated woman I became within the walls of my own home. Just when I thought I could handle everything, something unexpected happened. On Friday night after work, I arrived home to find the house completely dark. It was odd that my husband and in-laws weren't there. It was too early for them to be asleep. As I walked in, puzzled, I noticed a note on the table. It said, "We're going on a trip, back on Sunday." I didn't know anything about the trip. What made me even more upset was the messy room filled with takeout containers and drink bottles. It was typical for my in-laws and husband not to clean up, but they could have at least thrown away the trash before leaving. Frustrated, I raised my voice, even though no one was there to hear me. Feeling empty, I started picking up the trash and cleaning. How did they even afford this trip? A wave of shock hit me. I quickly opened my banking app and checked the credit card transactions. This can't be happening. Several $1,000s were charged by what seemed to be a travel agency. I tried calling my husband, but he didn't pick up. Fighting the urge to throw my phone in frustration, I decided to check my husband's social media. There it was, a beautiful beach, so stunning, a picture of a bright blue sky and crystal water. The people in the photo didn't look. Could it be true? Digging further, I never imagined they would take an international trip and I felt drained. I hate to admit it, but my husband doesn't earn much. Most of our income comes from my job. I've been saving diligently because I worry about our future. That was before my in-laws moved in. The idea of my husband and his parents using my money to enjoy a resort made my anger boil over. All the vague stress I've been feeling started to crystallize into clear questions. Why did they do this? How did they feel about it? What were they thinking about the future? It felt like an endless cycle of thoughts. I knew I needed to take action about my life. When my husband's in-laws returned from their trip, slightly sunburned and radiating self-satisfaction, I was sitting, irritation a tightly wound coil inside me. But I kept quiet, letting them bask in their ill-gotten glow. We had such a great time. Traveling abroad is definitely worth it, and we found the food and accommodation quite affordable. My in-laws practically gloated. "Let's plan another trip." Mom, my husband chimed in, chatting with his parents like a child begging for a summer vacation. At 35 years old, seeing him like that filled me with disgust. I prepared dinner in frustration, moving mechanically, trying to shut out their triumphant chatter. Then, oh dear, there's so much dust here, my mother-in-law remarked. "That's not good," giving me a quick glance. "You didn't clean while we were away. What kind of day off was that?" I couldn't help but ask again. "If you had kept the house clean all the time, I would have taken you on the trip. I didn't invite you because I was thinking about you and your housework. Isn't that right, Mom and Dad?" My husband said this seriously. "Thanks for considering that," I replied. My face twitched and I turned away, pretending to get ingredients from the fridge. Inside, I was shouting, "Are you kidding me?" I couldn't believe it. They left the house messy and took a vacation with my money, and now they were saying this. Checking the credit card transactions while they were away only made me angrier. Did they go to a spa or fancy restaurants? How much have they spent without asking me? I couldn't stop thinking about it. Thousands, tens of thousands. A couple $1,000s wasn't out of the question, and with them taking over the entire household, it could be even more. I was beyond frustrated. Once I got a taste of using my money for trips, my husband and in-laws started going away more often. My credit card was being used routinely. I silently watched my husband and in-laws' foolish spending, the resentment building with each swipe. Then one day, my mother-in-law said, "We're going to Hawaii. Can you increase the credit card limit?" "Sure, I understand," I replied, a chilling calm masking the fury that threatened to erupt. My mother-in-law was completely disregarding me. Did she think I'd just obey her every command? Did she expect me to buy a new swimsuit at our age? She was flipping through a swimsuit catalog, clearly excited. Since she was using my money anyway, I thought, just wait and see. I quietly increased the limit, without a word to my cheerful mother-in-law, who was so absorbed in the catalog that she didn't notice. On the day they left for Hawaii, the room was messier than ever. My husband and in-laws were rushing around packing, paying no mind to cleaning up. "Oh, Lisa, make sure you clean thoroughly this time," my mother-in-law instructed me. "It's a long trip. Good luck with the chore." "Lisa," my husband said, oblivious to the storm brewing within me. What's he talking about? All three of them started to rush. Understood. I'll make sure to clean thoroughly. That said to their backs, the words dripping with a hidden menace they were too self-absorbed to detect. I was gazing at the night view. Even though it was a weekday, I had taken a rare paid day off and was enjoying a drink at a lavish hotel. My husband called. I let outside, left my seat, and answered the call. What the hell is going on? I can't get into the house. My husband sounded quite panicked. I thought as much. I said calmly, what do you mean? What's happening? It's not surprising my husband was freaking out. There should be a for sale sign at the entrance, and not a single piece of furniture should be visible from the windows. Lisa, what have you done? Explain. Where are you? What did you do while we were away? I could hear my mother-in-law and father-in-law yelling in the background. I cleaned up. Justice order. I answered nonchalantly. While the three were left stunned, I went ahead and put the house up for sale. The land too. It's completely clean now. Nothing's left inside. You foolish woman, my father-in-law yelled. You mean? What foolish thing have I done? Who's been doing foolish things? I wonder. You all sure had a great time using your daughter-in-law's money and living it up. Look, Lisa, don't be mean. Quickly change it back. What are we supposed to do? My husband pleaded in a voice that sounded almost teary. I won't have a problem. The house was bought by me in the first place. I decided on my new place to live. Yes, a house was purchased with my considerable income. Of course, it's under my name. It was a house to which my husband had no rights. How could you? It was our home. How could you sell it without permission? My mother-in-law said, please save your sleep for when you're asleep. It was never your home to begin with. You were just freeloading. Parasites. Sitting off me right? I've made up my mind. I can't continue like this. Losing everything. I need to exterminate and rid myself of these harmful pests. How dare you speak to mom like that? The words bellowed from my husband were met with my swiftly spoken words, you're a pest. 2. I want a divorce. I'm going to demand my money back. I've already consulted with my attorney. The lawyer. I couldn't relay the amount. I heard a loud clatter on the other end. It seemed that my husband. I dropped the phone. What happened, Henry? What's wrong? The voices of my mother-in-law and father-in-law echoed clearly, worried for their son. My husband started crying like a child through the phone. I can only pull back in disbelief knowing that any further conversation would be feeble. I hung up the phone, sitting back down. It all becomes second nature to me, but today it was different. It was a sigh of relief. At last, I finally cleaned the house. Good job, I toasted to myself, sipping champagne. My husband and in-laws seemed to have no choice but to return to their family home. They have nowhere else to go, after all. During the months from my decision to divorce until I actually brought it up, when I visited to introduce myself before marriage, the place didn't seem so disheveled. They must have hired professionals to temporarily tidy it up. Their house had a long-standing reputation in the neighborhood as a hoarder's home. Though my husband was reluctant about the divorce, he quickly accepted when confronted with my attorney. Sobbing, he even signed the agreement to pay me back the money they spent. But it's only fair, since he was the one who created the situation, recklessly indulging in luxuries with other people's money. And so I managed to completely subtract ties with my troublesome family. However, I must regret the fact that I married such a man in the first place. Before he got married, maybe I was too desperate as I approached my 30s. I go about my daily work. Will I be single further from now on? You're still young. Don't say things like that. I appreciate the subordinates who play along with my complaints and jokes. You're right. I shouldn't give up hope. That's right. Would you consider someone younger? Was that a joke? Looking up, I saw my subordinate's face was serious. Don't hold unnecessary things. Cleaning is important, but maybe, just maybe, I don't need to give up hope. These days, I find myself pondering such things. So, tell me, based on everything you've heard, do you think I handled the situation correctly? I know it was drastic, but I felt like I was drowning. Was it justified? Should I have tried a different approach? I'm open to hearing all perspectives. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I need to know if I crossed the line or if I did what any sane person would do in my shoes. I just want to know what you think.